seeing how everyone likes top 10 videos apparently, we're going to do the top 10 things I love about this car. I keep looking down at my phone because the list is here, in case you didn't watch the last one. I love that this car was not modified before me. And I know a lot of people just slapped their hands. I could hear them groaning from across the internet because I took a completely original, AE86, 92 Toyota Corolla and, gutted it, ripped it apart, tore it to shreds, painted it, all that other stuff. But I love the fact that there are no surprises with this. Quick side story. When we were taking the front bumper off the USDM one, which was like 50 parts and 100 bolts and connectors and everything else, I found a key. I found an original key to the car that was caked with road grime. It had obviously been there for 20 years, and it's the original owner, and I'm the third owner of this car, tied it up there and just forgot about it. And that's just like fun car archaeology stuff you come across, and I love that I get to do that here because the car no one else pulled the bumpers before to find that. So that's kind of fun. So I like the car's not been modified before me. I love that the body is straight. The car, before I had it go through a body shop, was pretty much in great condition already. There was no dents or beat panels or multicolored panels or any of that. The body's always been straight. When we took the front bumper off, there was no collision damage. There'd never been in an accident from Carfax reports, but that doesn't necessarily cover all accidents. So whenever we take a panel off and I don't find any signs that it's ever been modified before or that it's ever been in an accident, I really like that about this car, is that it's been just a complete positive experience when it comes to the body being unmolested and never worked on prior to my ownership of it. So I like that. I love that it's a classic 80s car. I love the pop-up headlights. I love the boxy style to it. I love the hard turns and the non-aerodynamics of any of this, the panel gap everywhere. I love that about this car. Any of the newer cars today, sports cars specifically, they're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but they flow very well, they're wind tunneled. That was obviously never done here, and this wasn't really a sports car, maybe a sports coupe, but I just love how boxy it is. I don't know how to put it. If you like 80s cars, you like 80s cars. And I like a lot of 80s cars, so there's just no other way to put it. 80s cars are just cool for me, not necessarily for you. I like how lightweight it is. Obviously, it's a little more lightweight right now than normal. It's so light that Mike can bench press this car. Or what? You don't believe me that Mike can bench press this car? Now Mike's a bigger boy. He has some strength to him. But Mike can just... there you go. Be careful with yourself there. I got it. You got your grip? Oh, there you go. Up, down. So when Mike gets bored here, he can just come to the gym and bench press my car. But even with the motor in it, even in a factory trim, it's really cool how lightweight this car is. It's one of the fun things about it. It made it fun to drive, which is one of the fun things I have on here that I love with this car is when it did drive and it was running, I loved how much fun this car was to drive. Factory 4AG motor at the wheels is going to make you 90 to 100 horsepower if you're doing good, and even with that little bit of power, this car was a blast to drive when it ran, and it's one of the reasons that I can't wait to get it running again, with or without an SR20 or any other motor swaps. I know that the car's just going to be fun to drive. It's quick, it's nimble, it's small, it's light. It's a lot of things today that cars aren't, so I love that about it. I like how rare it is. Not just in this modified state with the pan of paint. I mean, I drove this car, as you guys know, I think from watching the show, if you've kept up with it. I bought this in Washington State. I live in Pennsylvania. I drove it cross country in 5 days. And on the way, I didn't see a single other 86. Now, if you're watching this from the West Coast, the Washington area, the LA area, where the 86 community is pretty strong, you'd be like, rare. We have 15 friends with you. There's none around. I think I know of 2 in the area. One's ratted out and rusted to hell, and the other's abandoned. You just don't see 86s on this side of the coast. They didn't last because of the winters and the salt on the roads out here, so they're just not around, and it's a pretty rare car. For a 1980s Toyota, there's just not many out there. I like that about it. I actually love it about it. So it's just not something you see everywhere to meet. It's fun to work on. It's a little bit high pressure since we had the car painted. Obviously, you got to be careful around it with tools and whatnot, kind of a backwards approach to building a car, paint it, and then work on it. But it's really fun to work on because it's so simplistic. Being an 80s car and having, very limited electronics, there's no, like Mike had on his Supra, there's no windshield wiper sprayers, there's none of that shit. It's very simple. There's not a whole lot to it, so it's not like it's difficult to work on in any facet. One of the reasons I love this car is because it's my dream car. When I say dream car, yeah, I dream to own an R34 Skyline. I dream to own a GTR. I dream to own nicer cars than that, AMGs and whatnot. But my childhood car growing up was, at a very young age, because Back to the Future, it was the DeLorean. And as I actually got closer to the driving age, as I've said 100 times, this was the car that I was always like, wow, that's just really cool. I really like the AE86. I couldn't believe what those guys are doing with them in Hot Version and all those magazines we used to read in high school and whatnot. This was the car that spoke to me, and as such, I own my dream car. And if you guys have a car that you like and feel that way, I highly recommend saving up and buying your dream car. The other next thing I'll cover on this, I love my memories with this car. When I did drive it cross country, I had a family member come with me, and that was really cool. I think I've said before, my mother actually always wanted to go cross country, so when we did that, we flew out to Seattle, Washington, we picked the car up, and we drove it back together. So, that's really cool. It's something I'll have for the rest of my life with this vehicle. Once, my mother passes one day in my future, I'll have those memories here with this vehicle, which adds a certain intrinsic value, and it's not replaceable. And it's one of the reasons why, when the motor blew up and I was trying to hem and haw what I was going to do with it, one of the reasons I decided to keep it was because I knew I had those memories. And that's something that's going to be important to me as I get older and things in my life change like that. I love that this car isn't rushed. Unlike every other car I've ever owned, where I might have it as a daily driver, or it might be, at that time in my parents' garage or in their driveway or something, I like that I don't have to rush through it to get it done or get it moving. I can, I hate the fact that it's not done, but I love the fact that I am not in a pressured situation at any time to move this car. I can sit back on something and really weigh my choices. You talk to people that have done both options of what I'm debating. I love the fact that I can take my time and weigh decisions out. Now, there's also paralysis by analysis, which goes back to hating the fact that it's not done, and I do find myself sometimes overthinking and overanalyzing. But at the heart of the matter is it's great that I have this spot and I don't have to depend on this car to get to work or anything else. And the last thing that I'll cover just real quick, because I already touched on it, was that it's ultra fun to drive. So, when the car is running, it's a ton of fun to drive. So those were the 10 things I love about my AE92. My 2001 Toyota Corolla. These were my 10 favorite things about this car.